so totally thought I was recording the entire time because I was literally talking about how cold it is again, and I'm not about to repeat myself. So anyways, just jumping right into it. So, good morning. It is 58 degrees right now, and we don't know what the rest of the week is going to be like. Fingers crossed, eyes crossed, toes, every single thing crossed, that it does not rain on this glorious weekend, because it'll be prom weekend. Okay. So, this morning, on my off day, I'm up bright and early, instead of heading back to the house to, go lay my ass back down. I got shit to do today. So, yeah. Because I feel like I was a good girl. I cleaned up my apartment and everything, and organized things, and took time for rest and relaxation also. So today was gonna just be another day to just chill, watch movies. I'm into Stranger Things. Don't say anything, because one of my girls already said something, and I'm just like, look. So let me live. I love Stranger Things. Not let me say where did that come from? I really, really like it. It's very, 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 very intense. I love movies that just, oh my god, you gotta clutch your pearls. So, anyways, I'm in the third season, just started, so be quiet. About that, just real quick. So back when that was all big and popular, I'm just like, why it's so special? Everybody's talking about Stranger Things, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna. When things are overly hyped, it turns me off. So finally, many years later, I'm like, you know what? Let me see what Stranger Things is about. Okay. And can I say that it is cute that Hopper has, maybe I'll consider you, I'll consider you continuing to see my daughter. I was like, oh my god, oh, he's going through the motions like a dad would with his teenage girls, unless you're my dad. Yeah. Anyways, so today, the first thing on the agenda is to take my mom's grand dog, story for another day, grand dog, not my dog, to the groomer so that he can get he needs a makeover. He's a Yorkie. I mean, the sweetest thing ever. His name is OJ. He was the alpha of his group or whatever. Like, he's the big one. Oh god, he's so sweet. Whenever I see him, his little song is like, OJ Gin Juice, OJ Gin Juice, and he does a little dance. It's so cute, y'all. She has his brother Bruno. Bruno was one of the smaller ones in the bunch. He's still tiny too compared to his brother. And his little thing for me, because at one point in time it was just Bruno. So whenever I go over to my parents' house, and he just come running. He that's just our little thing. So everyone treats OJ like he's weird and he's the redheaded stepchild, simply because, he was neglected by his owner. My sister, story for another day. She's a terrible pet parent. She's a deadbeat pet parent. Let me just say that. She neglected him, so he is so affectionate and so sweet. Like, he's always wanting to give you kisses. He's always trying to, just get your attention, and just, I don't think it's in a way that he's competing with his brother. Maybe a little bit, because just whatever, but I also think it's due to the fact that he was neglected. So anyways, taking him to the groomer, so that if he's gonna be a walk-in, I'm gonna see, because I was like, fuck, I need to get this appointment scheduled on Friday for today, since I'm gonna be off today. And Friday I was working my little ass off. The last two work days of last week, Thursday and Friday, I was working my little ass off. I mean, I just trying to get the shit done. Stay off my back. Stay out of my fucking inbox. Stay out, don't come to my fucking office. Put shit in my mailbox. Leave me alone. Get my work done. I was gonna talk some shit, but I'll say that for another day. So anyways, then I wanted to go grocery shopping early in the morning, like the old folks do, just to see what that's like. We're gonna see how. No, probably not, because to me, early shopping would be like 7, 8, maybe 9 o'clock, but nah. So I probably won't do the old people shopping, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do some grocery shopping today. So the whole reason for this video, I never, and when I tell you I never check my email for like, my YouTube. I don't. I just don't. But I was gonna say compelled, but it wasn't even that deep. It was just, just part of, I was up looking, just seeing what I need to delete, whatever. And I saw that I got an email asking me about what do I do, for the Yoni scheme or whatever. So I said, okay, well, let me answer this here. Let me say this. I'm not a licensed esthetician, so I'm not going to say what, all that it does and all that. I would much rather you do the research, because I don't want to be responsible for anything. I hold no responsibilities for anything that I done just recently said about Yoni Steam or moving forward. I'm only going to speak on what I do for me, because I am careful. I assume all responsibilities, and everything when it comes to that. And if you research it, you'll see why I say that. But what I can and will say is what I do in preparation for myself and then afterwards. So in preparation, I'm setting the vibe. I got my music on, I'm lighting up incense. Like you saw, I had all my, I believe I had all my bracelets on, my crystals. I had all my crystals on. I believe I did. That's newer. That's a newer thing I'm doing. And then I think I am going to get off the freeway, because I don't know what the fuck that shit's about. But yeah, y'all got that. Whether it stays straight or anyways. Let's see. So then, the hell are you doing? Then I set an intention, like what I would like to achieve or receive from, just this process. And I trust that my body, once, I'm seated or whatever, that everything activates. So, for example, like I said, I did that at night. So, I, was, wanting restful sleep, and just other little, just other little, just other little things, like, so I don't want to, I don't want to, but just anything that you just want to, with the obvious, things, the benefits that you get from, the steam or whatever. But like, you can set, just, oh God, why did I come this way? I'm going, I'm not even gonna say that. But yeah, like for me, one of my things were restful sleep, and, just alignment, and just peace, and, just things like that. I don't want to go too deep into it, but that's what I do. And then once my time is up, I immediately get off. I don't linger. It's something about it for me. I feel like, you know, if you linger, that's just me. If you linger, I don't know. I feel like some type of, I don't know. I just don't feel like you should linger after your timer is up. You just immediately get off. You could do what you know, whatever. You know, I give thanks. And, the water left over, you know, after, you know, whatever herbs you use. For me, my herbs also have flowers in them. So, I hope you get there safely. All that weaving you doing on this tree, you must not know where the heck you at. Unless they don't care no more. But anyways, so after you know, after like grab the water, the flowers, whatever. So I take everything and, you know, I'll pour out the flowers. Actually have to scoop out and put into the grass, but you know, I pour everything to the grass. So basically what I do is just give these elements back to the earth. That's one thing I feel strongly about. You know, when you have flowers that, you know, they perish, don't throw them in the trash. Give them back to the earth. That's just me. That's what I do. I'm not saying what I do is right. I'm not saying it's the right way, especially, like I said, when it comes to, you know, whatever you do in your personal time, when you're steaming. And this is for, I don't know that there's an equivalent for guys as far as steaming goes. I don't know, but I'm just saying for the ladies, whatever you do, you know, it's between you, and it's between you and your time and your belief and your spirits and all of that, you know. And before you decide to buy something, you know, make sure you do your research on their products. You know, just don't go out here just buying anything that just says yoni steaming, because I mean, I did my research and a lot of people are, you know, they see the word yoni and immediately they gravitate to it. And, you know, it may not be an actual healthy, good product for you, because, you know, you have got to be careful. You don't want to mess around and, you know, jack yourself up. You know, that's even with, you know, the steam itself, you know, the herbs, you know, make sure you're buying from a what they say, reputable person. So just, you know, just do your research if, you know, it's something that you're interested in doing. I would recommend going to you know, a person who's licensed to do it versus doing it from home, because I do it from home. Again, like I said, I am not a licensed esthetician. You know, I'm not giving you medical advice. I do not assume any I don't assume any responsibilities in the event you decide to take it upon yourself to do what you want to do and something happens. I'm sorry, boo. So please heed my warning. Yoni steaming is not, in my opinion, is not for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah. So there's that on that. Let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to say about that? If it comes to me, maybe I'll talk about it later. Right now, I am almost to my parents' house, so I will catch y'all later.